All three panels that you saw this morning were obviously forward-looking. And so that's, the whole purpose here is this forward-looking view into the future. But we're going to pause for a moment and take a look backwards to recognize some of the important work that led us here. There are all sorts of people who were involved by us, I mean Canada. Canada playing a role in this exercise. To some extent, you hate to identify a single person, but one person that has put Toronto on the map, who in fact will be recognized in some other year, but is standing at the back of the room, and I'd just like to thank, because the only reason that Toronto can host a conference like this and have people come from around the world is because of the pioneering work that was done in this field, and that's Professor Hinton. So thank you very much for the contributions you made here. Now, the Creative Destruction Lab was founded by an economist. It was designed using economic principles, and in fact, it was even named after a phrase coined by the first economist who put the entrepreneur as a central actor in models of economic growth under capitalism. And as a result, we decided to design the awards that the Creative Destruction Lab would present around the three primary ingredients in most models of economic growth. And those are labor, capital, and ideas. And while these awards are really meant to recognize contributions made from across the country on Canada's prosperity, we don't take for granted that place matters. As students of economic geography, we fully recognize the importance of place. And we are located in Toronto, and being in Toronto has various features and attributes that make us who we are. And so we're delighted that the three awards that will be presented today will be presented by the leader of the city, and that is, of course, our mayor, His Worship John Tory. And receiving and congratulating the award winners will be our Governor General, as well as the President of the University, Mayor Gertler.
Well, Ajay, thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, and I will say a couple of words, ask His Excellency to come up in just a moment when it actually comes time to present the awards. But I'm not to speak for long, but I did want to, first of all, welcome those of you who are not from Toronto to Toronto. I always make a point, in the interest of full, plain and true disclosure, of indicating to those who are not from Toronto, we recently passed a new bylaw here, which it's actually bylaw 762, section 3B. And it allows us now to inspect your baggage when you leave town. And that, of course, is to make sure that you've done enough shopping. And I would count even things you do to pick up papers here. If you made investments and there was documentation proving that, we'd count that. So I just didn't want you to be surprised when you got to the airport, the train station, the bus station. I think it's very important a conference like this is being held in Toronto. Whether people do live here or not, many of you will be aware of just how high Toronto ranks on various assessments done of global cities. And while I'm usually the first one to point out those rankings in the usual kind of modest, non-complacent Canadian way, I also see it as part of my job, an important part of my job, and I just want you to know this, to make sure that the world doesn't pass us by as we sit around celebrating our success as a city. The Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, and thank God for Dr. Fraser Mustard. He was a great Canadian in every sense of the word, including his work with CFAR. It was created to identify areas where Canada had the potential to lead. And we actually need, in this country, institutions like that and the Creative Destruction Lab here at Rotmans, given our tendency to fail to recognize sometimes our resident brain power. We often don't recognize the potential of these people who are Torontonians, who are Canadians, who live here, the leadership they can provide until we read a paper or read about an invention or read about a business they founded somewhere else in the world, and we're very proud of that. We fail to focus on the fact that they had to leave town in order to do that. I see it as a big part of my job, and indeed the future of this city, to do everything possible to make sure that they feel they don't have to leave town. In fact, they shouldn't leave town. They should stay here, and we should be encouraging others of you to join them here in making sure this is the place in the world, combined with the quality of living we have here and all of the other attributes that we are here building and shaping the future. Because when I travel, even if I travel just outside of the city, elsewhere in the country, it's the talent pool that exists here, the brain power that exists in the city and in its institutions and the enterprises that are here, which keeps Toronto on top. And the job that I have in the city government is to keep them here and to get the most we can from them. And I'll make one more comment before moving on to the awards, and that is that beyond the talented people, I also want this to be the city that welcomes and nurtures and invents and supports and finances and improves upon the game-changing ideas and industries, not the city that tries to turn back the hands of time or pretend that the status quo is adequate or that the status quo is going to be here 5 minutes from now, let alone 5 years from now. And this means sometimes taking on difficult issues. Don't bother asking any cab driver around here what they think about me. But, you know, people who depend on the status quo react often as you would expect they'll react. But again, my focus is on building the economy of the future, and I think what you're doing here is very much devoted to that, and my focus here in Toronto is on building the city of the future. And I'm just glad people like you are here, either because you live here and work here and study here and invent here, or because you're visiting. And we hope those who are visiting will, yes, fill up your suitcases with stuff, but more importantly, come back, and some of you, I hope, will even stay. So now it's on to the awards, and may I ask him to come up now, because I think as the award winners are introduced, I would love to have standing at my side somebody who I can tell you, for those of you who are Canadian, you know whereof I speak. For those of you who are not, our Governor General is our head of state in Canada. The Queen is our head of state. He's our representative. But more so than that, I will say that His Excellency, who is someone I've known for a number of years, is just the finest of what it is to be a Canadian in terms of the work he's done in academe, in every aspect of life, but mostly in public service and in helping to build a great, strong, fair country. And so it's my pleasure to ask to come up the Governor General of Canada, His Excellency David Johnston. So I'm honored to be able to present, with the help of His Excellency, 3 awards today to individuals and institutions that are making sure that we stand out in those regards that I've been talking about, and those who've contributed directly to our competitiveness as a country. The first award recognizes an organization that has improved Canada's competitiveness in science and technology and commerce through the development and promotion of human capital. And the 2015 recipient of this award, it will be one close to His Excellency's heart and a huge calling card for Canada around the world now, and that is the University of Waterloo Engineering and Co-op Programs. And this award will be accepted by Dr. Wayne Parker, the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, and Dr. Rocco Fondacaro, Acting Executive Director of the Cooperative Education Program at Waterloo. And I would also invite to join us as well to be congratulated by His Excellency, the President of the University of Waterloo, Feridun Hamdalauper, to join us at the podium for a photograph and to receive the award. Will you please come up? There they are.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here today, especially with my colleague Rocco Fontecaro from our Department of Cooperative Education and Career Action, and our president of the University of Fairden, Hamd Lapper. I'd like to just say a few words about cooperative education at the University of Waterloo, especially in the Faculty of Engineering. So co-op, we believe, is really at the heart of our innovation ecosystem within the faculty. We admit excellent students, and those students go through a series of work and academic terms, and during those terms they develop ideas that they bring back. They bring them into our capstone design projects, our student design teams, and when they graduate, they often start up companies. They enter into both national and international incubators and go on to stimulate the national economy. So we're very proud of that. One could ask, well, why are we so successful with co-op at Waterloo? And I think there's two real reasons. One is that it really is in our culture, and it permeates through everything that we do within the faculty. All of our decisions, whether they're academic or operational, are often consider co-op and its impacts. Secondly, we don't allow the system to stagnate. It is a constantly adapting system. It's not the system that we operated in 1957. We adjust to environmental conditions and the workforce and so on. And so it's really for those two efforts, ongoing efforts, I believe that we continue to be successful as a program. And I think that's really what we're being recognized for today. And so with that, I'd like to thank you very much for this honor. Thank you.
Don't often get to make shameless promotions, so I thought I'd take this chance. So co-op is the original innovation at the University of Waterloo. Started by the founding fathers about 58 years ago with a first class of 75 engineering students. Today we've established a deeply rooted connections with over 2,200 employers who hire our 6,800 engineering co-op students every year. And the feedback we receive is instrumental into our success. Employers help us to continually improve the program and enhance Waterloo's reputation as a global leader in cooperative education. Following engineering's co-op innovation, we have grown to more than 19,000 students enrolled in more than 120 accredited co-op programs across 6 faculties. Each year, co-op students engage in over 17,000 work terms among a network of 6,300 employers. Aspiring engineers from all over the world enroll in large part because of co-op. With our partners in engineering and other faculties, co-op programs have the flexibility and relevance that encourages students to pursue a variety of work-term experiences, including entrepreneurial ventures and startups, such as the ones fostered by CDL. Thanks again to the Creative Destruction Lab, the Rotman School of Management, and to all of you for this wonderful recognition.
This program is a shining star, and we often don't recognize the fact that the distance between Toronto and Waterloo is about the same as between San Francisco and the Silicon Valley. And many of you will have heard of the corridor between Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo, and we're going to make that even more of a reality from the standpoint of the work that you're interested in and the work that they do so that we can work together. It's frankly just my way of kind of roping them into the Greater Toronto region and trying to take advantage of what they are. The second award recognizes an individual who's improved Canada's competitiveness through the visionary application of capital. And the 2015 recipient of this award is Mr. Haig Ferris. Haig is a pioneer of Canada's technology venture capital industry. He founded Brown, Ferris and Jefferson in 1968, as well as Ventures West in 1973. He worked to educate entrepreneurs, scientists, and investors on the topic of financing through a course he created and taught for more than a decade at the University of British Columbia. He's provided leadership and advocacy for financing science and technology research through Science World in Vancouver, as well as through Quest University. and his unrelenting efforts laid the foundation for Canadian investment in this sector decades before it was widely acknowledged as being important. So please join me in extending our congratulations to Mr. Haig Ferris. Haig? Come over here and receive your...
Well, it's great to be in Toronto, but Whistler's going to have a great ski year. Thank you, Steve Jobs. This is a great pleasure for me, and I'm very grateful to receive this award. AJ and I, our chairman today, he and I have a common mentor, the late Sir Cecil Green, who was the co-founder of Texas Instruments. On such an occasion such as this, Cecil would say to the audience, "Lock the doors, I feel a long speech coming on." But AJ has limited my remarks to 2 minutes, as he points out twice what Academy Award winners get. I'm very pleased and honored to receive this Rotman Award, because it emphasizes to the world the value to oneself and to society of teaching, mentoring, and financing young, promising business and scientific, technological superstars. One of the great pleasures in life is to watch young people you have taught or mentored seek and realize their dreams. Today, I'm lucky enough to have 4 of those superstars of mine present. Excuse me, Dr. Geordie Rose, who founded D-Wave, the world's first quantum computer company. Dr. Mo Kermani, who founded Bicast, a pioneering company in cloud storage. Dr. Elliot Holtham, whose company has staked mineral claims in British Columbia based on machine learning algorithms analyzing huge geological databases. And, of course, our convention chair, Dr. Ajay Agrawal, who today is changing the world by putting together this amazing conference. My message today is that the rate of change in business processes and methods in science and technology is accelerating. Consequently, most of the people in this room over 50 don't know it yet, but we are or are about to become irrelevant due to our inability or unwillingness to absorb and understand the changes around us. I can guarantee you, though, that if you want to slow up or prevent that horrible process of becoming irrelevant, take talented young scientists and engineers under your wings and teach them about finance, about business processes, introduce them to your networks, and you will end up learning more from them than they will from you. That certainly has been my experience. In closing, I'm very happy that my wife and my lifelong friend Bill Graham are here today, and I only wish that my grade 8 science teacher, who was not kind in marking my grade 8 science exam, was also here. That bitch. Oh, by the way, to reach its maximum potential, machine learning will need to access the power of quantum computing. Think about it, do something about it.
Thank you very much, Haig. It was a wonderful speech, but never admit that stuff about people over 50, and don't ever let them see the fear in your eyes. Ever. The third and final award recognizes an organization that has had a positive impact on Canada's competitiveness through the advancement of new ideas. And the 2015 recipient of this award is the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, CIFAR, which I made reference to earlier. And the award will be accepted by Barbara Stymus, the board chair of CIFAR, and by Dr. Melvin Silverman, professor of medicine at the University of Toronto and former program lead at the Institute. And this award recognizes CIFAR's support for the curiosity-driven research that is now commonly referred to as deep learning. Although it is now clear that this field will have a significant economic impact, allowing it to attract broad government and industry support, this was not always the case. CIFAR provided critical support for this sector when this line of scientific inquiry was considered peripheral, risky, and unexciting. And so they are to be congratulated for the foresight and for the determination and the persistence they've had in bringing us to where we are today. And so might I ask Barbara and Mel to please come up and accept this award.
Well, Your Excellency and Your Worship, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are very honored that Rotman School of Management's Creative Destruction Lab has recognized CIFAR with this award. This award, as His Worship has described, acknowledges the importance of taking risks to support research into complex challenges like those taken on by CIFAR fellows who pioneered deep learning. Fundamental research is critical to long-term innovation, job creation, and even beginnings of entirely new industries. Today's gathering underscores the vital link between research and industry. For more than 30 years, CIFAR has connected the best minds together in interdisciplinary networks to tackle questions of importance to the world. Our work is founded on the belief that we need new and different ways of thinking to solve our most complex global challenges. In 2004, CIFAR created the program in Neural Computation and Adaptive Perception. It brought together scientists from biology, computer science, electrical engineering, neuroscience, and psychology to build on our understanding of how the brain perceives the world, in an effort to advance the field of artificial intelligence. At the time, their approach was met with skepticism in the larger AI community. Yet they persevered, with CIFAR providing an important intellectual home where they could continue advancing their revolutionary thinking. Today, the impact of their work is touching all corners of the globe. Facebook, Google, IBM, and Baidu all use technology made possible by this team, led initially by Geoffrey Hinton and now under the direction of Yann LeCun at NYU and Facebook, and Yoshua Bengio at the University of Montreal. As Geoff Hinton was quoted saying in Wired magazine, "We have ceased to be the lunatic fringe. We are now the lunatic core." It was the hard work of these scientists that brought about their remarkable success. As chair, I'm very, very proud that CIFAR was able to play a role in building the network that allowed them to pursue these fruitful collaborations. Thank you to the Rotman School of Management and everyone here today for being champions of technology and innovation.
I have just a short story to add to Barbara's comments. Back in early 2004, shortly after I had joined CIFAR, I had the pleasure of presenting for the CIFAR board approval a new program with the unwieldy name of Neural Computation and Adaptive Perception, the acronym being NCAP, headed by none other than Jeff Hinton. As VP Research, it was my job to make the case for funding the new program. This was the first time I'd appeared before the board in this capacity, so I worked diligently and proceeded to describe in detail the scientific objectives of the proposed new program, replete with references to Boltzmann machines and trying to use the limited technical jargon I had acquired of machine learning for my presentation. With increasing concern, however, as I scanned the room in my presentation, I noted that board members were becoming progressively more glassy-eyed. Thankfully, I was interrupted by a board member who turned to his colleagues and said, "I think what Mel is trying to explain is that this new program will tell us or help us to discover how the brain works." 2 minutes later, the board unanimously approved the NCAP program. What I hope this anecdote communicates is that the willingness to take risks and support fundamental curiosity-driven research over the long term is deeply embedded in CFAR's DNA. Over a 10-year period, I had the privilege to watch NCAP discovery process in motion and the trajectory of its research unfold within the CFAR culture. It is wonderful when outcomes result in game-changing applications exemplified by the advances in machine learning and artificial intelligence, following the deep learning, brilliant pioneering work of Jeff Hinton, Jan LeCun, and Yoshua Bengio. But I'm absolutely certain these researchers would agree that their freedom to pursue their ideas collaboratively, unfettered by constraints of the usual mandate to pursue chasing goals in a pipeline of applied research, that this was absolutely crucial to their success, this freedom to pursue collaborative research in the free way to explore their ideas and their intuitions over the long term. Simply put, this is the CFAR model which has been so successful in promoting and advancing advanced research. Thank you.
May I, on your behalf, extend congratulations to all of the award winners that we've seen honored today, and to thank them for the fact that they've done so much to advance learning and to advance our leadership in science and technology and commerce and to advance this country. And so to all of you, congratulations and thank you. We will wait, Your Excellency. I would like to just ask people, it's customary here, we would rise to acknowledge the departure of His Excellency, the Right Honourable David Johnston, the Governor-General of Canada. And with thanks for your being here, sir. And President Gertler and I will follow. And thank you very much for your attention.